Whoop! Sorry. Just kind of ended. So when I made these film strips, I actually have them on a DVD called Focus on Film Strips. And I added music to them. And they have nothing to do with what's being shown. And a lot of it is organ music and polka music. So that was that one was Roll Out the Barrel. Now, why do I not share that with you? Well, I have been dinged copyright-wise when I've done that, so not going to do it. Anyways, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the avgeeks Lunchtime Streaming Show. That was a film strip on Playing Fair. And it had really nice color. I think I might have color corrected that one, or that one might have just been like really good Kodachrome, but really nice. And I like that Encyclopedia Britannica series with that family. They show up a lot, so it's pretty great. All right, so we watch old 16mm films here. That one that we just saw was actually a 35mm film strip, but there you go. So this next film is actually on film, and I've seen this title many times when I walk through the archives stacks and shelving. I was like, oh, I should watch that. Oh, I should watch that. Oh, I should watch that. So thanks to you, we're going to watch it. So here it is, the Henderson Avenue Bug Patrol.
It was a day like any other day. The sun was so hot you could pop corn on the sidewalk. We decided to keep cool at our favorite spot. The hypnotic sounds of the video games were ringing in our ears, and we were getting bug-eyed from the flashing lights. That is, until we ran out of money.
Money?
Crazy, I'm broke.
Got a quarter, Hector?
No, I don't. Does anybody have 100?
No.
Crazy.
Hey,
There's Bruce. Oh, what is he doing? He never buys stuff here.
What's she doing here?
Oh, there, he's looking at it. Get down. Oh, what is he doing?
Mr. Bruce always struck me as a regular kind of guy, so I didn't figure him for the Sherlock Holmes type. We knew this wasn't his everyday shopping list. We had to find out what he was up to. That's the kind of kids we are.
Hi, Mr. Bruce.
Hi, kids.
What are you doing?
I'm going to go visit our new neighbors.
New neighbors.
New neighbors. I don't know any new neighbors. What neighbors?
Where do they live? They live right here on Henderson Avenue. You want to go visit them with me?
Sure.
Well, let's go.
Neighbors we didn't know about? That seemed a little weird to me. We all knew Mr. Bruce. He was friendly with our parents, lived right down the street. But new neighbors? We kids knew everybody in the neighborhood. We knew who moved out and who moved in. So I wasn't too thrilled about leaving the video games to play the neighborhood detective. But we decided to play his game, at least for a while.
New neighbors over there. I know the people who live there.
Look up here for a while. What do you see? Got your stick over
That
it?
is an
All
ladybug.
right, babe.
Where?
You got him? He's in there. Then we got a honeybee. Now, hey, everybody, take a look at this honeybee's legs. See all that yellow on it? What is that?
That's the honey. Pollen.
That's the pollen.
Pollen.
How's he get it on his legs?
Easy. You get some crawling on top of the flowers.
Crawling on top of the flowers.
He's messy.
He is messy. He's got that yellow stuff all over him.
Yeah, this
Not
go-
all of it gets on his legs, does it?
Does he go like this?
Well, he'll clean himself off
Oh.
because he doesn't like to have that all over him.
What
And
does
then
this have
he'll
to do
have
with
a-
neighbors?
What does this have to do with neighbors?
This hunt for new neighbors was getting stranger by the minute. It would have been easier to find goldfish jogging in a desert. I thought we would be knocking on doors, meeting new people. Instead, Mr. Bruce had us looking in some very odd places.
How about right here? Is there a nest there?
Yeah.
What kind of nest is that?
Birds.
Why do you think the birds build a nest up there?
Well, right there is protected.
It's protected from the rain. Very good. What else?
Cats is hard.
Cats can't get there at all.
And it's protected from anything else because it's right there behind that window.
Well, there's an awful lot of stuff that they use to make that nest. I see some cotton. What else is there?
Paper, plastic, paper,
net,
Little rope,
yarn.
What else? Yarn.
Paper.
all different things that you could pick up.
They use our junk. They use our mess to make their home. Are those the new neighbors you've been talking about?
The clues weren't exactly sticking together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Mr. Bruce knew something, and we kids were determined to find out what it was.
Are you getting the idea that perhaps everything that we're looking for doesn't live in a brick house or a wooden house?
No.
Well, have you ever had or heard of a house that's solid as a rock?
Yeah.
Well, we need to find a nice solid house up here. How about right here on our left? Do you think these might be good homes? What do you think we can find living behind there?
Not a person.
Oh, looky there. A big old slug.
Where did I ever get the name of slug?
Well, why would you say that might be called a slug?
Sluggish?
Sluggish, that's good. Very good.
Wet.
He's kind of wet. Yeah, he's cold. And where has he been all winter?
Under that rock.
Under that rock. Okay. What kind of things do you think he'd eat?
Dead leaves.
Dead leaves. Very good.
Dead leaves? Yeah.
Very good. Look at those eyeballs. They're both out. They don't see the same way you and I do, but he can see light and dark.
You like black and white?
Well, it's light and dark, not just black and white. He doesn't have to ride a bicycle and see 20 feet ahead of him because he's a slug. He's sluggish, remember?
Yeah.
He feels gross.
Do they have a brain or a heart?
They have a very simple nervous system. You can see that he's got a nerve because when you touch those eyes, he pulls back, or when you touch his body, he pulls in.
So this is what he was up to. We thought some of our neighbors were buggy, but never thought these bugs were our neighbors. The caper was over, or maybe it had just begun. Don't step on the crack, you're gonna break your mother's back.
Well, let's look at this crack right here for a moment. What do we see down here? Ants, very good. What are they working on there?
It's kind of gross. Meat is like, if we eat cow and is their meat the cockroach?
Their meat is that dead cockroach or anything else that they might happen to find them. Suppose the ants are going to finish eating up the cockroach. What are they going to do with it?
They're gonna take it down, probably.
Well, let's dig down into this dirt a little bit and see what's underneath here.
Do they fight over their food or something?
No, they're very cooperative. All of those animals are taking the food down inside so that everybody will have something to eat.
But
How many husbands does the queen have?
She only has one husband, although there are several very lazy males down in the chambers there.
What do they just lie in bed all day?
Well, I guess you could say that.
does it mean they're lazy? What's this? Look, come here, quick. Can I see it?
Now hold it so we can see it. That's an assassin bug.
You mean like a killer bug?
He's got a mouth like a soda straw. When he catches something, he sticks the soda straw in, dissolves the inside of the other animal, and then he sucks all of it out. When he bites you, it will really hurt, and that's what raises that blister. He's not a very friendly bug. Not much of a neighbor as far as you and I are concerned. Well, that's a pretty good find. All right, let's see if we can't find some more neighbors up here.
What would you be thinking that we could find? Hey, this looks like people's warts.
Yeah, it sure does. But that's a leaf. That's not skin. What do you suppose those are?
Bugs, insects, leaves.
They also look like
Hibernation.
teeth.
Let me open one up and let's see what we can find. Let me give you the magnifying glass and let's see what's in this little gall. Okay, what do you see?
Seeds.
Seeds? Do they move at all?
Kind of.
Does the mother stay with the woodlouse?
No, she goes on.
What is the mother?
She
Just a big woodline.
But how does she lay them or
Okay,
whatever you
on
call
the
it?
tail end, and she has what looks like the stinger on a wasp, and it's called an ovipositor. And she climbs up on the bottom side, and she pierces the leaf, and then she lays all of her eggs in there. The leaf is irritated and begins to form this little box around those eggs.
Bruce, I wanted to get that name of the ovipositor.
Ovipositor? Ovo means egg, and positor means position. So it puts an egg in a position.
So when you say over easy,
You want an egg over easy? That's an ovipositor with a...
egg easy.
Hey, look what I found, a snake.
Show it to everybody. Oh, pretty little thing. See that tiny little head that he's got? He can't eat anything very big, but he's not trying to bite me at all because he doesn't know how to bite. It's not one of his ways of defending himself. Isn't he handsome?
No.
No? Oh, I think he's a pretty snake. Shall we let him go back into the flower patch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Go back and eat some more insects. Well, looks like we found ourselves a dead bird.
You got some worm coming out of his back.
Got some worms coming out of his back?
No, that's
What are the worms doing?
eating them up.
Eating him up.
What,
It's kind of a recycling, isn't it? Dead bird goes back into the ground because the worms eat him, and then the worms will leave him. And somebody said, "Ooh, gross," a while ago, but death is around us all the time, and it's not something that we need to really be afraid of. It's going to happen.
Can we get us something else?
Where did it come from?
This rain ruined our day.
Where's all this rain coming?
Came out of nowhere. It came out of the sky.
It came from the sky. Up from
30
the
minutes ago, sunshine.
heavens.
And then it got cloudy and all of a sudden rainstorm. Another hour or two and the sun comes back out, all these trees will be clean and washed down. And you know what they say about our weather. Wait a while, 5 minutes, it'll change. Let's go looking for some more stuff.
Up and down. Up and down. It's raining. It's raining. When I first returned to the channel, I don't know.
Why are they climbing up that post?
Get out of the sun.
To get out of the sun, what else?
Get out from the wet.
The wet. Yeah, we just had an awful rainfall and they don't breathe with gills like a fish.
They're
They have
getting
to
on top of
breathe
each other.
and
Here,
have
come.
fresh air just like you and I do. So they had to get out of that cover down there, which was drowning them. They'd get hung up. It looks like they're racing, but one of them's going to lose because it's hanging on the back of the other.
Well, why is one going on top of each other?
I think they're just interested in climbing. You see now they're separating a little bit.
I'm trying to reach the roof.
No, they're
Just
trying
go
to
up
go
high
into
enough
outer
so that they won't
space.
get affected by the heat or the water.
I want this one right here.
No, I want that one.
I already named him
What is your name?
George.
Oh, wow.
Have you named yours yet, Fina?
No, because that's the one I want.
That's the one you want. You don't like
Mine.
the name of George.
Mm-mm.
I don't know why you want to name them, because you're going to have to leave them here anyhow. You don't know what they eat, and if you took them home, you just starve them to death. You
I'll
got
eat
to
'em.
leave them where they can get back to eat the stuff that they're used to eating.
I'll come back and eat them.
Come back and talk to
Two
them
gold
each
steaks.
day. That's a good idea. Well, let's let them get out of the rain, and let's see if we can't find some other things up our alley here. All right, let's go.
Touch him, you die.
I'm touching them. The neighborhood would never be the same. We met a lot of creatures, and Mr. Bruce was right. They are our neighbors. So we won't invite them home for lunch. That won't stop us from visiting them. That's the kind of kids we are.
Y'all come back and see us.
I wasn't expecting the talking crow. That was kind of a hee-haw moment there. But I love digging that 80s vibe. Definitely the video games. You can tell that's the hook to get the kids in. Like, how do you get the kids who's obsessed with arcade games? How do you get them to think about bugs? So, there you go. This next film is about the percussion group. Let's learn about drums and other percussive instruments.
Long before there was music, there was dancing. The drum was probably the first instrument used to accompany the dance. Whatever their shape, whatever their origin, all drums are rhythm instruments. The earliest drums were hollowed-out sections of a tree trunk, with one end closed, the open end covered with an animal skin. Over the years, this principle has not changed. The drums, as we know them today, came to us from the East, from where the Crusaders had brought them to the West, almost 1,000 years ago. As large armies of foot soldiers developed, they needed something to give them enthusiasm in marching and battle, so the drum became a military instrument. Later, when military bands appeared, drums were used to beat out the rhythm to the brass melodies. And that was the beginning of the percussion section of the modern orchestra. We call a percussion instrument anything that is struck or hit in rhythm. Anything at all, even two steel bars. Or typewriter keys, which have been actually written into some music scores. Just watch. Some percussion instruments make a big noise, like this. Some can play many different notes, like the xylophone. Or like the celesta. When the drums came to the concert halls from the military bands, composers realized that instead of just a loud noise, drums ought to have a definite pitch in order to join with the rest of the instruments of the orchestra. So drums were invented which could be played at a definite pitch. They are called timpani, or kettle drums. The player is tuning up his timpani. He tightens or loosens the screws around the edge of the drum, which tightens or loosens the drum cover, which in turn raises or lowers the sound. By means of a foot pedal, this process can be speeded up on one kind of timpani because timpani can play a tune. They are the most respectable members of the percussion family. Let's return to the xylophone and compare its tune with that of the tuned bells, and with the chimes. The celesta sometimes even carries the lead melody. The clear metallic ring makes the triangle a popular percussion instrument. Then there are some wooden percussion instruments, like the Mexican gourd, the Chinese woodblocks, the funny-looking slapstick, and the even stranger-sounding ratchet, or the Spanish castanets. The really big noisemakers of the percussion section are the cymbals. The gong is their close relative. All these instruments contribute their share to the wealth of rhythm and the variety of color in the modern orchestra, as in this ballet number from the opera Prince Igor by the Russian composer Borodin. Watch how the tuned bells enrich the sound of the orchestra. In a ballet number, As in this Dance of the Wild Men from the same opera, the percussion section contributes mainly to the rhythm of the music. But the percussion section should not be associated only with marching tunes or dance rhythms in the symphony orchestra. The percussion section is a full-fledged partner of this musical body. It offers its range of tonal color, its variety and skill to the composer and the conductor of symphonic music. One example of the wealth of tone that the percussion section gives to an orchestra can be found in Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. The variety of tonal color and the rhythm of the percussion instruments give the orchestra the full-bodied sound which so well characterized this romantic composer.
So that was pretty great. The scene of the guy with the typewriter in front of sheet music was pretty good. Pretty good. I might have to do a typewriter show. It's kind of fascinating. And I'm wondering if the sheet music dictates what he's supposed to type. Or if he's just typing the title or typing the Italian that's in the sheet music about the speed to play. So this next film, I've never seen this before, and I don't think anybody has seen this particular print before. It actually came in, it's in a can, and it was a plastic bag in the can, so it came from a lab. There's no leader on it, and I don't think this has ever been shown. I'm sure that somebody has seen a copy of this film somewhere, but I've never seen this one, and nobody, I think, has seen this one. I think they ordered this as part of a series, and then they just never got around to watching it or processing it for whatever reason. So it's called Give and Take, and it's Canadian, and I think it's from the late 70s or early 80s. I can't tell. I didn't really get enough info on it. So here it is, Give and Take.
Foundation for Economic Education.
All right, everybody. We don't have much time for this meeting, so if everybody will take a seat, we can get started. We have to make a very important decision today. According to the results of our poll, cleaning up the vacant lot and making it into a student park was the most popular class project idea by 2 to 1.
Has anyone talked to Mr. Hanley yet? He owns that lot, you know.
Not yet, but I can't imagine why he wouldn't let us clean it up. That place is a mess.
Besides, he's not using it. He gets his property fixed up for free, and we get a place to eat outside, other than the front steps.
I agree, Raphael, but I think Graham has a point. Someone has to talk to Mr. Hanley before we announce a project to the school. I'll be happy to go this afternoon if someone else will come with me.
Raphael and I'll go with you, Holly. If we don't get this project going right away, we won't have it ourselves before school's out.
Okay, that ends the meeting for today. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, and we'll tell you the results of our meeting with Mr. Hanley. So, all right, I'll call Mr. Hanley, make an appointment with him, and we'll go see him after school.
Yeah, if you need to meet you up there, just go.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
See you later.
I've owned that lot for years, and I've never been able to figure out what to do with it. So, I suppose if you kids are really willing to clean it up, you can use it for a student park.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hanley.
You won't regret it, sir. We'll make it a place you can be proud of.
We can even name it Hanley Park if you'd like.
It won't be necessary. But you've got to keep the noise down. I don't want folks in the neighborhood to be bothered.
We will. Thank you, Mr. Hanley.
Come on, you guys, smile.
Boy, was that a job and a half.
Yep, it sure was worth it. No more eating lunch on the front steps.
I just hope people will want to use it.
I hate oranges. Here's an orange, Victor. There you go.
I don't believe it. This place is really getting popular.
A lot of these people aren't even students. How'd they find out about this place?
Word gets out, I guess. There's Raphael. Let's go sit with him.
We're lucky to get a seat these days.
What bothers me is that half the people here didn't do one thing to help us clean up this lot. We paid for all the cleanup stuff and we did all the work.
Well, if we have to clean up after all these people, we'll never get the work done. Maybe we should put up a sign saying, this area is for students only.
I'm not sure we can. This is Mr. Hanley's lot, and only he can exclude people.
Yeah, well, if it gets any noisier, he may decide to exclude us along with everyone else. I don't think we can complain to him.
What if we go to the city? Try to talk Mayor Blount into buying this lot from Mr. Hanley. Then the city could help us maintain it as a public park. The city would pay to clean the place up instead of us.
Say, you young folks deserve a lot of congratulations. You've done a mightily fine job here.
Thank you, Mr.
Dalloway. Nicholas, you can call me Nick Dalloway. Yeah, I've been coming by here at lunchtime for a couple of weeks now, and I gotta say it, I'm impressed. This is the hottest little lunch spot in town.
Yeah, we've noticed.
Converting the lot into a park was our class project.
Really? Well, it was a grand idea. But I gotta say it, I'm a little envious.
Why, Mr. Dalloway?
I wish I'd thought of it. Well, I gotta get back to work. I just thought I'd come by, give credit where credit was due. See ya.
He seemed like a nice man.
Maybe.
That's a tempting offer, Dalloway. I guess the kids cleaning up that lot was to my advantage. You're the only offer I've had in years.
Well, Mr. Hanley, you just name your price. As far as I'm concerned, setting up a Raleigh's trolley on that piece of property will be the best investment I ever make. The place was made for the fast food concession business.
I don't know, Dalloway.
Gordon, I'm going to be providing jobs for some of those students. Raleigh's Trolleys makes cheap, nutritious food. And on top of that, I'm going to be taking over a tax burden on a vacant lot that you've been carrying for years.
Those kids would really be disappointed.
I know, but... You think about it, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
In other words, you want the city to buy Mr. Hanley's lot and to maintain it as a public park.
That's right, Mayor Blount. We fixed the lot up, but now it's become so popular, we're having a hard time keeping it clean.
And we're also afraid that Mr. Hanley may shut us down if it starts getting too noisy.
Buying that lot may not be too easy. That's why I've asked our city planner, Miss Bortnick, here to join us. She's our expert on goods and services provided by government.
Can the city buy our park, Miss Bortnick? A lot of people besides students are using it now, and we just don't think it's fair that we should do all the work of maintaining it.
Well, shared consumption is one aspect of public goods. As long as one person's using it, doesn't prevent someone else from using it, there is a case for government provision. But there's also another aspect of public goods, non-exclusion. Most public goods cannot exclude people who don't pay directly.
If we put up a street light, for example, we can't use it to let some people see better than others. Once the light is up, anyone that passes by can see better.
And one person seeing better doesn't make the light less useful to others who can see better too. It's also shared consumption.
You've got it.
But what's this got to do with our park?
If the city buys the park, we couldn't exclude people from using it. A private owner can exclude people, but the city can't.
So you can buy it.
We'd have to make a study of the costs and benefits first. Then there'd have to be a public hearing. Then the city council and the taxpayer would have to vote on it. It's a long process.
We'll have graduated by then.
Not that long. But the city has limited tax revenue. Buying their land would not only cost us the money that we paid to purchase it, but we would lose the property taxes we now collect from Mr. Hanley. And it would have to be maintained at public expense. And I'm just not sure how much support there is for this public park of yours.
And we're already under a lot of pressure to repair the roads and get more police cars.
And we're really in a tight spot as a result of the mosquito spraying last summer. We may have to do it again this year.
Well, why don't you let people spray their own mosquitoes? If they want to get rid of them, they can pay for it directly.
I'm afraid that's not practical, Graham. In order to be effective, every place has to be sprayed. If only some people spray, then the mosquitoes from the unsprayed areas would spread and infect all over. It's shared consumption and non-exclusion again. Here we have both. There is no effective way to keep the mosquitoes away from only those people who are willing to pay. Once they're eliminated, everyone benefits, whether they pay for it or not.
Yes?
4 o'clock appointment is here, sir.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you for coming by. I'll give your proposal some thought, and I'll let you know about it in a few days.
We look forward to hearing this.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
What are we going to do now?
Well, nice seeing you again.
Hello, Mr. Dalloway. Why, you must be Mayor Blount's 4 o'clock appointment.
Sure am. I'm here to see about that little park you kids built. I found that the zoning regulations make it okay for me to buy it, so I'm going to put a little fast-food trolley on there for all the students. What do you think of that?
If you buy it and put up a Raleigh's trolley, we can't eat our lunch there anymore.
Well, sure you can. You buy it from me. Folks who buy their lunch from my trolley can use the whole park. Of course, I'm going to have to exclude others. I mean, I'm running a private business here, not a public convenience. Besides, I can give you some jobs. Nice seeing you again.
Let's go talk to Mr. Hanley and see if we can convince him not to sell.
Yeah, good idea. Let's go.
I wish I could give you a definite answer, but I'm afraid it's not that simple. You see, if I decide to sell that lot, I might want to sell it to the highest bidder. Now, whether that's Nick Dalloway or the city or someone else entirely, who can say?
This place is becoming a zoo. At least we can still use it.
Not for long. Maybe we should get Miss Sportnick and Mayor Blount down here tomorrow. Show them how popular the park is with everyone, not just students.
And show them how important it is this place be publicly owned.
Well, I guess we'd better clean up because no one else will.
All right, let's get at it.
No greasy burgers unless you want them. Take it from an eyesore and make it my store. Save our park! Save our park! Save our park! Oh yeah, you
See, Mr. Mayor, Miss Sportnick, people really care what happens to this park.
Save our park! Save our park! Save our park! Save our park!
Up this lot and we should be allowed to use it. The citizens of this town want a public park. Share and share alike, that's what I say.
Now, you listen to me, young man. You're talking about using other people's money. The city will lose tax revenue if they buy this lot. Well, as a taxpayer, why should my money be used to buy a park for you?
Your taxes pay for roads that you don't drive on.
Well, roads have external benefits. They are used to deliver food and other things. You can benefit from a road even if you don't use it. How do I benefit if you get a free park?
Well, now,
You can still use this park if you buy your food at Raleigh's Trolley.
and we can if you don't.
Easy for you to say. I'm looking for a job with Galway.
Well, what should we do now?
The content for Give and Take was developed with funds from a consortium of 45 state and provincial education agencies.
Other funds were provided by these corporations and foundations. Additional support was provided by the Office of Consumers Education, U.S. Department of Education. This program was produced by Bradshaw McLeod and Associates Limited for the Alberta Communications Corporation Educational Services under the supervision of AIT, the Agency for Instructional Television.
So as someone pointed out, this is part of a series called Give and Take. And it seems like this one is called Episode 7, Public and Private, and deals with the subtleties and intricacies of public space, public property versus private property, all in a way that junior high people can understand. So there you go. This next film is about Texas. Enjoy.
The state of Texas is so big that if Nebraska, Michigan, Arkansas, Virginia, and South Carolina were placed in it, there would still be room enough for Connecticut, Rhode Island, and the District of Columbia. That's how big Texas is. And its bigness is linked to an almost legendary productivity and richness. Proud Texans claim that there is enough livestock in the state to provide every man, woman, and child in Texas with 2 sheep, more than a side of beef, and half a goat. The official motto of Texas is friendship. That's the kind of a place it is. Texans do everything on a grand scale, and pride in their state is one of the grandest of their characteristics. Contributing to the fame of Texas are its colorful statesmen, like Uvalde's Cactus Jack Garner, former Vice President of the United States. Ambassadors of the great state are its delegates to Congress, 100% Americans and 100% Texans. For long and loyal service, Senator Connolly and Representative Rayburn are typical. And from the Texas prairies have come great naval leaders like Admirals J.O. Richardson and Chester Nimitz. For many years, the influential Jesse Jones of Houston has been among the foremost of all Texans in Washington. But as important as its men are the things Texas mines and grows in its rich land. So great is its grain output that whole nations could subsist on it for months. Out of Texas' 254 counties, 223 produce the most valuable crop grown in a political subdivision in the world, cotton, whose annual yield in Texas alone almost equals the total value of all the zinc, lead, copper, gold, and silver mined in the United States. From the 400,000 fertile acres in the man-made Magic Valley of the Lower Rio Grande are shipped each year a wide variety of winter and early spring vegetables and some of the richest vitamin-bearing citrus fruits in the world. But Texas is not only rich agriculturally, its mines can produce practically every mineral necessary to modern life. Important among these is sulfur for drugs, for explosives, for processing rubber, and for 100 other important industrial uses. Equally useful is carbon, one of the prime ingredients in the manufacture of steel, for ships and skyscrapers, for trucks and automobiles. There is mercury in Texas, too, whose compounds have innumerable uses in electrical, chemical, and commercial operations. In Texas is almost all the world's helium, a lighter-than-air and non-inflammable gas for dirigibles and observation balloons. Stored beneath the surface of Texas are mammoth deposits of petroleum, the all-essential mineral for which wars are fought, by which millions of motor vehicles are moved, and without which the United States' great fleets of ships and airplanes would be helpless. Through Texas pipelines each month passed millions of gallons of fuel, not only for the United States, but for other nations as well. Texas oil fields produce as much crude petroleum as Russia, Romania, Iran, and Venezuela combined. Because of the vast level stretches of its plateaus, Texas became one of the great military training areas throughout World War II. More than a score of army posts were established in Texas, where young Americans from every section of the land have learned how to become good soldiers. Texans have always had a gift for soldiering and an adventuresome disposition. The Army's Randolph Field was prominent in the huge U.S. air training program, which provided the men to fly the many thousands of planes so active in the victory over Germany. To such fields as the Navy's Corpus Christi on the Gulf Coast, the war brought tremendous new developments. Today, such airfields are becoming gateways to Latin America. Besides the airports, shipyards on the Gulf of Mexico were built in increasing numbers. In peacetime, they provide freighters and tankers, which help to make the United States a leading figure in the world's merchant marine. In industry also, the war multiplied Texas activities. Many modern plants were constructed to manufacture aircraft for war and for peace. With all of its resources and with a larger proportion of its men than any other state, Texas met the demands of war and contributed in full measure to the winning of it. Proud of its history, Texas teaches the young people all the native traditions, what the land bears and what manner of creatures dwell on it. Strong as U.S. national pride in George Washington, father of his country, is Texan pride in Sam Houston, a founding father of Texas. Oft taught is the lesson that Texans have lived under 6 flags: Spanish, French, Mexican, Texan, Confederate, and the United States. The first flag to fly over Texas was the Spanish, followed by the French, planted by La Salle in 1685. After his murder 2 years later, the Spanish assumed control again. In 1821, Mexico split with Spain, and in 1835, Texas revolted from Mexico and eventually became a republic. Texas history bristles with great dates and hard-fought battles, like the Battle of the Alamo in 1836, when 183 fighting Texans bravely but vainly held off 3,000 Mexicans for 12 days. On April 21st, 1836, in the Battle of San Jacinto, General Sam Houston successfully beat off the whole Mexican army. He lost only 2 men doing it. And in 1845, Texas became the 28th state to join the Union. But Texans still remember that they once had their own president and their own Declaration of Independence. Texas even sent its own ambassador to London. When they built their capital at Austin, they took pains to make it big and handsome, like the one at Washington. On duty day and night is the Border Patrol, which guards the 1,000 miles of frontier separating Texas from Mexico. San Antonio is one of Texas' oldest cities and one of the most romantic. In the beginning, it was a little Spanish settlement, and it still has a large Spanish district. There are many people even today in San Antonio who remember it as a high-spirited frontier town. And the Old-Time Trail Drivers Association still comes in for an occasional celebration. Houston is the up-and-coming city and a busy seaport, proud of her skyscrapers, built with money from rich oil fields, fertile cotton plantations, and vast cattle ranges. Houston is justly proud of its Rice Institute. One of Texas' 24 institutions of higher learning, it was founded by Yankee immigrant William March Rice. And Houston has one of the largest seaports in the country, due to the fact that its businessmen were far-sighted enough to construct a ship canal 50 miles to the Gulf of Mexico, giving them access to the Atlantic Ocean. Beyond the teeming activity of Midtown, Houston has many fine homes, where its citizens live graciously in the easygoing tradition of the Old South, a potent reminder of plantation days. Cosmopolitan Dallas is another of Texas' great cities. Here there is barely a trace of the Old West. Cotton money built Dallas, and then oil. Since that, its almost unending prosperity has been Dallas' pride, along with the fact that its people are shrewd traders and great travelers in the closest touch with the rest of the world. Dallas has one of the finest art museums in the Southwest, housing a collection of old masters. From a town to a great city is the story of Fort Worth, 4th largest city in Texas. Railway center of Texas, focus of most of the oil pipelines in Texas, the largest terminal grain market in the South, Fort Worth owes much to publisher and promoter Amon Carter. Throughout Texas, strangers find the exuberant goodwill, traditional frontier hospitality and friendship, which for many typifies this huge and famous southwestern state.
Film broke. That's what that was. So basically what happens is on the on this telecine is if I lose tension, it immediately pulls it through this way, and there's a sound head, and it goes. So that's what happened with that. Is that the film was cut basically at the end. I didn't have a complete print of that, and that's what happens. So we don't know what happened to Texas. Basically, we can only guess what happened to that state, if it's even still a state. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. As always, it's great to share with you. And we saw some stuff that I've never seen before today, and that's always fun. And your comments are always welcome and great. Other things that we love here at AV Geeks is if you like what we saw, there's a way probably to follow, like, subscribe, share, comment, blah, blah, blah. Do that. Somehow that will guarantee that we will enter heaven at some point. I think that's what heaven is now, the criteria. St. Peter looks to see how many likes you have. You can also buy us coffee at this site right here. And some people have been buying us coffee at other times. So thank you so much for people who aren't watching live. You guys are just as great as everybody else, so thank you. I know that not everybody can watch because they're working or because they're in a different time zone or a different country. And so I appreciate the people that do join us live, but I also appreciate the people that watch later. You can also buy stuff and see other things that we have online at avgeeks.com. As always, very much enjoy our time together. And please rewind, love each other, and really take care of yourself. We're experiencing a lot of COVID cases in North Carolina, as many states are, and it's just extra frustrating because many of us have been, not going out and been behaving and been wearing masks. So it's very difficult. It's very frustrating for me. But I appreciate this time that we spend together. And the reason why is because I'm reaching out and I'm trying to talk to people and all that. And so hopefully you'll do the same. And take care of yourself, please. It's not a great time. And if you don't feel good, try to share it with somebody and kind of commiserate. That's really kind of what this is about, beyond just showing corny 16mm films, is that this is a vast support group of people who watch corny 16mm films. All right. So thanks again. Love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Also, as a reminder, I'm just going to zip back. As a reminder, we're going to do a AV Geeks holiday special tomorrow at 6 o'clock in conjunction with the North Carolina Science Museum, where I'm going to show films that really don't have any basis in science, and I'm going to see how they're going to spin it. So some of the worst holiday films that I have in my collection, and some of the best. So hopefully we'll see you then. Everybody take care.